All right, first thing we're going to do is a standard normal curve, and I am going to label it based upon the 68, 95, 99, 7 rule. Under the highest point of our curve is always where our mean goes. So this would be my mu, and then we typically label 3 standard deviations up and 3 standard deviations down. Now our standard deviation is going to be called sigma, so I have a mu plus sigma, a mu plus 2 sigma, and a mu plus 3 sigma. When I go down this way, I have a mu minus sigma, a mu minus 2 sigma, and a mu minus 3 sigma. Here's the line that's drawn to our mean, which means 50% of my data is on that side and 50% of my data is on that side. Within 1 standard deviation of the mean is 68% of my data. Split that in half, and of course you get 34%. Within 2 standard deviations of my data is 95%. So 95 minus 68 means that I'm going to come out with 27%, and it is a symmetric bell curve, so divide by 2 and we get 13.5. So I have 13.5 here and I have 13.5 here. Now within 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviations, then within 3 standard deviations, I have 99.7% of my data. I've already accounted for 95%. So 4.7 divided by 2, I get 2.35. So I have 2.35 here and 2.35 here. Now, to equate or to account for all 100%, so 100 minus 99.7 is the 0.3 divided by 2, so I have 0.15% of the data outside the 3rd standard deviation. Now let's start looking at, well, what z-score? So a z-score means I have a standard normal curve, which means the mean has gone to 0, and each standard deviation is labeled as a 1. Above the mean is positive, below the mean will be my negatives. And now let's look at, well, what would happen, what kind of z-score would I get for the 20th percentile? The definition of percentile means below. So there's 0.15, 2.35, 13.5, so here's 16, which means 20 is somewhere between here and here. So I know I have a z-score between 0 and -1 for the 20th percentile. But exactly what is that z-score? We're going to use the feature on our calculator called inverse norm, and I'll show you where that's located on the TI-84. And we're going to go second, vars, to get to the distribution option. And here is our inverse norm feature. And then your calculator always wants that area as the area to the left. Well, that's going to be our 20%, so 0.2. And we want the z-score, so that means the mu is 0 and the sigma is 1. And I hit enter, and I get a negative 0.84. That's exactly where it should be, because I know it should be below the mean, so it should be negative, and I knew it was in this range. So again, what I put into my calculator was inverse norm, 0.2, the area to the left, mu was 0, and sigma was 1, and my calculator produced the z-score of a negative 0.84.